Hey, and welcome to the new episode of the Dinks with Kinks. I am your host, John Ondero, and with me tonight is Miss Rebecca.
Hello.
And Mr. Shep.
Good evening.
Now, before we get into this episode, I do want to remind everyone to follow us on social media at Dinks with Kinks on both Instagram and Twitter. We post stuff you can't see in this audio podcast, like pictures, videos, all kinds of stuff. We also have a Patreon now. All the links are down below, so check it out. Guys, I want to talk about something that's going to take your breath away. Yeah, just like that. No, tonight I want to talk about autoerotic asphyxiation.
Shep, why do we put up with this? Why?
Because he handles the technical stuff.
Oh, that's true.
That's right.
All right, you're right. Okay, continue.
Can't survive without me. Actually, you probably could and do a much better job, but shh. Anyway.
I was like, okay.
Anyway, tonight's a very touchy subject because, usually when we cover fetishes, we don't cover ones that can be harmful, like very harmful and lead to death if not done right. Tonight is one of those nights where, guys, we're going to be talking about some heavy stuff, so buckle up. It's about to get heavy. I just settled all my lawsuits. Fuck you, Debbie. Sorry, I had to sing Eminem.
You didn't really have
You guys never hear that song?
No.
All right, anyway. So let me ask you first. Do you guys know what autoerotic asphyxiation is?
Yes.
No, I've never heard of it, ever.
Ever?
That's a lie. No, that's a lie. He's lying. Absolute lies. Autoerotic asphyxiation is, another word for it is breath play. Closing off, restricting oxygen to yourself or another person. Typically used for sex play and masturbation. So we're going to talk about both tonight. So,
Are we?
We are. We're going to talk about the doing it's and the self-doing it's.
Gotcha.
Now, Miss Rebecca, you have heard of this. Is this something you've experienced before in the past?
It is. I have done breath play several times. I've experienced the good and the bad of it.
Well, tell us about it. Like, give us a little peek into that Rebecca window. That is
I actually, for the longest time, I actually had a phobia of people touching my neck. And I don't even know what happened. I guess something just like switched in my brain. I don't know. And one day, many years ago, someone, while we were in the throes of it, put a choke hold on me. He put his hands around my neck and put a choke hold on me. And I had probably one of the best orgasms I had up to that point. And I was like, oh, all right, I can get into that. And then ever since, yeah. So ever since then, it's been sort of, you don't want to do it all the time. I don't like it all the time, but you throw it in there every now and then. It's that whole, especially because I'm a sub, that whole, I trust you and you're in control. That whole, I surrender all that control to you. You have my life in your hands. It's ultimate trust. So it's also very hot. So yeah, I have, it's on my list. It's on my list. I would have to say it was like in the top 10, top 20.
Now, for science purposes, was the getting into it jello wrestling or maybe some coitus?
It was coitus. It was
okay. Just wanted to be sure.
Why are you guys saying coitus? Can we not just say the word fucking?
Because coitus sounds elegant.
Coitus sounds
I like
moist.
to use my big words sometimes.
I like that. I like when he says it.
Coitus.
Coitus.
All right. What about you, Mr. Shep? Have you experienced this either side of this play?
Yes, as the giver.
As the giver. What? Was it requested or something that you wanted to do?
Request.
Okay.
Everything.
Is it something you enjoy?
That one I wouldn't put an enjoyment on it. I because I guess I'm so attentive to the safety aspects of it. It's purely for the receiver at those points.
Gotcha.
Hmm.
When I was doing some research on this, there are many, many different ways that I didn't even know. Like, and I participate in, like corset breath. Like they will tighten corset so it takes your breath away, and then
take my breath away.
One of my favorite ones was apparently like you're sitting on their face and your genitals like they can't breathe because you're sitting on their face.
I'm sorry. I need to hear you. I need to hear you say that again. Yeah. We need a little more detail on that.
When you are sitting on their face and not in the hole, like you're supporting yourself, like you are sitting on their face and your genitals are covering their nose and mouth.
I have
taco vapor lock.
You know what? I didn't realize this. I have participated in that. That has happened to me. Wasn't 100%. I wasn't 100% for it at the time. It was one of those things that just kind of happened, and I was there, and then I was like, I don't know what to do here, but I will have to say it was a fun experience all around. Outside of that, I don't want to say like I'm scared to do it, but I'm very cautious because I'm like, I know the dangers behind it. So I'm always like very apprehensive because in the times that I've been with people who enjoy this, I didn't know them well enough. It wasn't like, I know you well enough to recognize the signs of what's happening. Mm-hmm. Because, with this fetish and as we get more into it, it's, potentially dangerous, and not just for death. You can cause brain damage. You could cause nerve damage, everything leading up to a stroke, air embolisms, everything. And like I said, I am always down for trying new things, especially if it's somebody I know and I'm comfortable with. But this is one of those ones where I've always been very apprehensive about.
Yes,
because
always make sure you see the sign, because I saw the sign, and I opened up our airways because I saw the sign.
And it opened up my airways. I saw the sign.
Yes, but no, never again.
This is going to be the singing podcast. That's how we deal with trauma. Is we sing through it.
And that's how we give trauma to people's ears sometimes.
Yeah. With this fetish, it is often misconstrued as like having a choking fetish, which is a totally separate thing. I mean, even though you can do this through choking. A lot of times people will go, I'm into choking, or I'm into erotic asphyxiation. They're not. They're into choking, and they just don't know they're not into that. They just want to feel the force, but not lose the oxygen.
Not lose the airflow.
Yes, and you should never try to mix the two. Choking to get rid of the airflow can be dangerous.
That's murder.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's what we like to call murder, and we'll talk about that later because I have a couple ideas for future products. Anyway, this is actually one of those fetishes that have cost many people their lives during masturbation.
What way to come and go?
Yeah, they'll build an apparatus. They'll put way to come and go.
That's amazing. I love you.
Why don't you give him as much crap as you give me?
Because he's cute.
Because mine make her laugh.
Fair enough.
That's right. His are clever.
Fair enough.
Yours are usually the glare-inducing.
Yeah. Listen, I know my place. But no, typically this can be very dangerous because if you do it during masturbation, you do run a chance of becoming trapped that way, not being able to relinquish your oxygen. A lot of people use hangman's nooses. They use plastic bags to cut off their oxygen and all that, and then they become asphyxiated and pass out to achieve orgasm, and then of course pass away because they have no way to recover themselves. So normally I am all for masturbation. This is the one podcast you're going to hear me say, don't do this alone.
Nope.
This is not a solo adventure. You need somebody there to watch your back and to make sure you make it out of the masturbation.
Yes, never play so low you die.
Yeah. Ooh, so low you die. I like that. Okay, I'm on board with that.
Yes, it's a good one. It's a good quote for the future. Never play
like
so low you die.
Now, Shep, the one thing I want to ask you is, because you've done this before, what is the proper way of doing this with minimal risk to your health?
Well, I wouldn't say I know the one specific and best proper way. I mean, there are many different ways, whether it's using accessories like memory foam pillows or yummy tacos or
Yummy tacos.
or other such accoutrements.
Can we call that?
The murder
Can we call
pillow.
face? No, I was going to say, can we call face sitting smother tacos from now on?
Some other tacos.
Murder tacos and murder pillows.
Smother tacos and murder pillows. We should sell those in the merch store. Brought to you by Murder Pillow.
And some other tacos.
Yeah.
Or
this
something.
podcast is brought to you by Murder Pillow, the makers of Smother Taco.
Mother taco.
Well, we don't make the smothered tacos. They're naturally, full
Naturally
of
occurring in
all
the
natural ingredients there. Yes, free range sometimes.
So, but yeah, this is definitely a fetish that you don't want to just listen to this podcast and go out and try. You definitely want to do some research on.
You should never do it with somebody that doesn't know what they're doing. I am making that very clear. Got the claps in because you're making the mistake of, I want to try it out, and they don't know what they're doing, and you could get hurt, and you can't talk, and you can't tell them your safe word because you can't breathe. So this is where having a nonverbal safe word is important. So
That's where the claps come in handy.
the claps.
The clap, a little finger
Yes.
stab, or making
A thumb.
sure your partner actually has a grip on you somewhere, and so as soon as you feel that grip even remotely loosen, you're done. But back to the question of methods and such. One method you would want to avoid is the actual wrapping your hand around their throat. One, because while trying to cut off the air, you could be putting too much pressure on a nerve or a blood vessel as well, which is much, much worse.
You don't want to cut both of them off?
Well, that's maybe a different fetish. Who knows? But in this one, we're only focused on the air.
Yeah.
And so the safest way, because another thing that's very important is balance, because, if you slip and maybe push yourself further into somebody's throat, well, that can make things worse as well. But since the trachea is right in front of the neck at the base of your neck, and there's really no bones or anything else protecting it, you can
No
actually
bones
just
about it.
gently press your the pad of your thumb on it, and just enough pressure, it will completely wrap up the airways. And then as for your hands, you can rest them just above the chest so they're nice and stable, so you have that perfect and secure kind of pressure
Right.
I don't
as you
recommend
choke
doing
yourself out. Remember, we said don't do solo.
that. Yeah, don't do solo, and I
But
don't
we're
recommend
watching.
doing it.
We're watching.
Yeah.
Chef,
I'm
so
not
it's
by
okay,
myself.
right?
I'm not by myself, and I don't recommend doing it when you're in front of a microphone because you'll cough into the microphone. So, my apologies.
There is that too, yes.
Yeah.
And I remember in the previous episodes we also came up with another method that was more entertaining for some that are very sensitive.
I remembered this one.
You remember that one? Yes. What is it?
It's the tickle.
Yes.
It's the tickle fetish.
Some people can be tickled so much they cannot breathe. So it's almost a dual stimulation factor there.
You like my little hand motions of that? I was like, ah! I'm like, they tickle.
Tickle it, tickle it, tickle it, tickle it, tickle it.
They give me the willies.
This is definitely a fetish. I think I would be down to try, but again, I'm very apprehensive of it because like I worry. I'm a worry wart. What do? I worry. I worry about all the warts.
Yes,
So
especially with go ahead.
Sorry. No, you go ahead. I was just. Go ahead.
Fine. There, you should always put in, depending on what you're using for the breath play, you should always be even more careful and attentive to things, especially if you use something like, the memory foam pillows, or maybe some people might use thick, like a thick towel or something like that. That way it's literally covering their mouth, their nose, and it's actually securing their head in place. But anything that covers up the face to where you can't see their expressions while you're doing it, that's where you must have the nonverbal and alerts ready and in place, because you can't see if they're blacking out or anything else, so you have to rely on what you feel.
And some people like blacking out. Like that's the sort of the other. I don't like blacking out. I feel like that's taking it a little far for me. But some people do, and I guess that's another one of those conversations. Like, you have to know your partner if you're going to participate in it.
Even if you know your partner, it's not something I would recommend.
It's not healthy.
Because with the blackout, you literally are depriving your brain of oxygen for a few moments there, and it's enough to knock you out. And so repeated oxygen deprivation to the brain can cause some lasting effects.
Mm-hmm. And as someone like myself, I can't take any more brain damage than I already have. So I'm getting from this, don't try this, John.
Drugs are bad.
It's not. Yeah, it's going to kill more of them brain cells, and you already forget how to spell your own name often. So, got it. I'm on the track.
So this can kill your brain cells without the drugs. So it's even less fun.
Absolutely. Do not try. Well, guys, I mean,
I was going to say one thing about the corset breath play.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I. Actually, my corsets, because I've lost weight, they're actually too big. But, when you tighten them and they take, obviously take your breath away, when everything is over, you can't just release the corset. You can't just like, okay, I'm going to untie it and bust out like a can of biscuits. Because you're restricting, with the corset, you're not just restricting airflow, you're also restricting blood to your torso and your stomach and your lungs. You have to make sure you're giving your body enough time to slowly get back. The blood flow comes back in a healthy manner, or you could get dizzy, you could get sick, like things could happen. And so just make sure, again, you're kinking responsibly. And when you're doing the corset breath play, that your partner is helping you, and that you are slowly bringing the air in a level. So it's the same thing on your like diving and you're really deep. You don't shoot straight back to the surface. So just make sure you're giving your body enough time to adjust back to an equilibrium.
Yes, because you're not just doing the simple act of putting a little pressure on one airway. You're literally seizing up the diaphragm, the muscle that's in charge of breathing. Or one of the major muscles. And so it's not a simple little act there.
No, it is not.
Absolutely, guys. I've never had a fetish I was so on the fence about. Like, usually by the end of an episode, I'm either like, I could really get into this, or I'm like, nope, not for me. This one, I'm still like, I love the idea of, but I'm still like, could this be something I could do?
So, what could do to someone or done to you?
Due to somebody. I mean, I've never been one to, except that one time where I enjoyed a good smother taco.
Was it all juicy? Did it run down your chin?
I mean,
A little bit.
If you season it a little bit first, yeah.
It was a well-seasoned, very juicy taco. Smother taco brought to you by the makers of Murder Pillow. And, like I said, that was fun. But I don't know. I mean, I love being dom, and I love, like, I can impact play. I'm real into bondage, tie up. I mean, I could even do tickle torture. This one,
see, that surprises me a little bit, John.
Yeah,
because you are very much about trust, and that is the ultimate trust. I am putting my life in your hands,
and I think that's what it is because it's such a trust thing. I don't think I could bring myself to potentially cause actual harm to someone. I mean, it's one of the things where I think I would, I honestly would do this.
Yes, that's why I always recommended the gentle pressure on the windpipe there, because it doesn't take a lot of pressure. It doesn't take a lot of effort in there. So you have to be gentle, but that's less likely to really do extra damage. I would think.
I had the forearm one time, and the forearm up against my throat, and
see, so that was too much against the throat. I would think.
That was one of my bad experiences.
Yeah, because I mean that's where you can involve some blood vessels and stuff like that, because there's too much pressure and too wide of a pressure. Because if you're using the forearm, you're pushing against muscles first, and finally the trachea. So you actually have to use a lot more force to have the same effect.
And absolutely, and when I say that I'm really on the fence about it, I mean the more hardcore version of this. Like actually causing like faintness and whatnot. Like of course, I'm very much into like choke play and putting pressure and even light breath play. It's one of those things where getting going farther into that rabbit hole to the more extreme stuff is where I'm like very cautious, just because I know the effects of like depriving oxygen to the brain.
And there is a way you can do breath play without ever touching their throat. Like
tickle them, tickle it.
Well, tickling.
With one cautionary tale: be careful of the tickling, because with loss of breath, they also might pee a little.
Death by tickling.
But what I'm saying is, I know I've experienced this. Is sometimes when you're, I don't know about males, but with females, you're pleasuring them so much that they actually stop breathing. Like I've been with partners who have it's been so good that I've stopped breathing for a second, especially when I orgasmed. Like it was just like. It was just all consuming, and I just stopped breathing. So you can do that too. You just have to be a little bit more patient.
I will say this. That's when you take your breath away. Take your breath away.
It was so good you got choked up and you didn't even have it in your mouth.
I know.
Yeah.
My.
That being said, I think
I've had partners like that as well. Yes.
This is actually a far more informative episode than I thought it would, and I'm really excited about that. Like, I like that we covered a lot of the segments of how to do this safely. But again, if you're going to attempt this fetish or kink, please do more research and be with a partner you trust. Kink responsibly.
And for all of my subs out there, going back to the sub safety episode, you do not have to do it because he says so. And if he puts his hand around your neck and that is not something you discussed, that's a big no-no.
Put that crown on the consent, because consent is king.
Yes, and remember, what doesn't kill you only makes you kinkier.
You're damn straight.
So
Yes.
make sure the more you survive these episodes, the kinkier you get.
Oh yeah. And now, speaking of kinks, it's time for us to spin that wheel to see what we're talking about next week.
Spin that wheel, DJ.
Around it goes. Where it stops, nobody knows.
Again, when is my face going to be on the wheel? Why can my face not be on the wheel?
Because
we'd actually like to see what the wheel picks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Your face is quite hypnotic, so it's spinning round and round. I think, yeah.
I
I
mean,
can put my leg on there as my toe pointing to it.
Oh,
okay. I'm actually for that. That gave me
let's do that.
that gave me a great idea to redesign the Would You Will, which is our brand new video show.
I know. It's
That-
so good.
Would you tell us about it?
Okay. So we get guests who work in all aspects of kink in their personal life or professional. So we have both like porn stars, but we have also just regular people, average Joes, and Jodettes. Come on, we spin the Would You Will, which is every topic we've talked about, and we get their opinion of it. Like, would they do it? Would they not do it? Have they done it? And we're 2 episodes in. It's been real fun. By the time this episode comes out, we'll be 3 episodes in because a new episode will be on tonight. Actually, check it out. Now I'm going to redesign the set. I'm going to put a leg.
Am I on the wheel?
Shep, you're always on the wheel.
I mean, sometimes I like to, if people, would you?
Would you do it?
The Would You Will. What?
All right. Shep,
That's what we should do. We should put our names on the wheel. I think.
Yeah.
Would you, Shepherd?
Would you?
I want Shepard. I want you to
Rebecca?
come on to an. I'm going to put you on an episode, Shep, and I'm just going to put my name on the wheel. It's just going to be my name over and over and over again. Be like, would you, Shep?
And I would have a
Anyway.
big sign.
You can check out preview episodes on our Twitter and Instagram and our YouTube channel, which is the Dondero Streams TV, which is our parent company. Or you can get the full episode on our Patreon. Just join our Patreon. It'll help support this podcast, keep us being kinky and doing our kinky games. And you get to see the full episodes, which are a lot of fun. We've had so
And my
much
feet.
fun on them.
My feet are on there.
And Rebecca's feet are on there. We have all kinds of bonus videos. My old porn career, I post stuff. It's not me making. It's me making the porn.
I was
not
like,
me in the porn. You don't see Dondero Wiener at all on there, but I do have a great drawing of Shepherd's Wiener on there. So yeah, you can check that out. Top level, only top level perk. You get to see the really awesome drawing I made of Shepherd's penis while I was asleep one night. It's okay. He said I could.
Was he? Did he consent? It doesn't sound like he
Did
consented,
I?
John.
Did I really?
Well, your penis did. Anyway, next week, I've been distracting everyone because I see what we're talking about next week, and it's a doozy of a one. We're gonna have a whole fistful on our hands
Oh, what?
because we're talking about fisting.
Of course
So,
we are.
Guys, you thought this episode was heavy? Next week's episode, we're gonna talk about some fisticuffs. I want to thank everyone who's listened tonight. Thank you so much for listening. Remember to follow us on social media. My name is John Undera, and with me,
And we're sorry to the people that just stopped listening.
yeah,
I know, that's
immediately
just turned it
stopped.
off just right now.
With me tonight is the very lovely, the very sensuous Mr. Shep,
Until next time.
and the ever brilliant, ever knowing the right stuffs, and creator of the murder pillow, Miss Rebecca.
Good evening.
So check out our merch store. Link is in the description. Soon to be out. Murder pillow, brought to you by the same makers of what was it?
Smothered tacos.
Smothered tacos. All right, guys. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Smothered from the other mother.